Hey guys! I'm Josh Horowitz, and today on Happy Sad Confused, we're live at the 92nd Street Y with the cast and director of The Hunger Games, The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, guys. You ready? I am so excited for this. I can tell you guys are too. Welcome to our live audience here. Welcome to folks watching around the world. Welcome to the Happy Sad Confused listeners and watchers. This is kind of a full circle moment for, I think, a lot of us. We all love the Hunger Games books. We love the films. I was privileged enough to go along the ride with the amazing cast of those original films, and I thought it was all over. 8 years ago, Mockingjay Part 2 came out. We said goodbye to the Hunger Games, but here we are on opening day for this return to the Hunger Games. And guys, this movie is amazing. It might be sacrilegious to say, this might be my favorite Hunger Games movie. Oh, collective gasp. We have an amazing group assembled tonight. I'm gonna ask my questions. We're gonna ask your questions. We're gonna have a good time. You ready for this? Should we do it? Okay. Okay. Please give a warm welcome to director Francis Lawrence returning to the Hunger Games. To Josh Andrés Rivera as Sejanus. To Tigress Hunter Schafer joining us. Rachel Zegler is here. Rachel! And Coriolanus Snow, Mr. Tom Blyth is here. Come on, Tom. Oh, we have a Sejanus. Is that a Sejanus blanket?
Can I have that? I want one. I want one. I have my own in real life, but I want one. Hell yeah.
It's amazing.
In the dress and everything. So good.
Thank you. Thank you, guys. Welcome. We have some enthusiastic fans. Congratulations on this amazing movie. The movie's out. Congratulations.
It is. Yes, came out today. Yeah, a couple hours ago.
How are you feeling? It's been a long time coming. Are you exhaling yet? It's been quite a journey for all of you. Can you enjoy this moment? You just need sleep, basically.
We need a little sleep, I think. I think we need a little sleep. Yeah, maybe next week is the exhale, relax, get healthy.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I know I'll speak for myself. I live in New York, and it's nice to be kind of wrapping up the press tour here in what is my, adopted hometown. Yeah.
We have a bunch of New Yorkers in the house, so welcome, guys. Welcome home. Let's talk a little bit about, look, there is a high bar to reach with The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. Secretly, were each of you worrying, oh God, don't let me be the one. Don't let me be the one to bring this down. Yeah, Tom, a little bit.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think the first feeling I had when getting cast was exactly that. Was this feeling of oh my God, I got this job. Oh my God, I got this job. Oh
no.
Now I actually have to do it. Now, you audition really hard and you go after the job that you want, and then when you actually get it, you're like, now I have to show up and I have to prepare. And there are, as everyone keeps telling me, big shoes to fill.
Big shoes. You all filled them very well. You should be very proud. I want to start, before we get into this amazing film, as I said, I had the privilege of covering those first 4 films, and I found a piece of tape I just want to show you. This was one of my last conversations with Jennifer Lawrence in 2015, right before Mockingjay Part 2 came out, and I think you're going to find this very interesting, to say the least. Can we roll this clip for the guys? Last thing for you, looking at this franchise, obviously the end of Katniss' story, would you want to see this universe expanded for someone else, for a different time period? I mean, do you have a vote in terms of what remains unexplored?
I don't see how we can, but in my lifetime, I will see these movies get redone with younger, hotter people. So I think that's probably just what should happen. They should just redo everything better. Good luck.
So, congratulations, the younger, hotter cast of The Hunger Games. I don't really have a question, except. But you did meet Jennifer finally recently. Was that nerve-wracking? Was that exciting to kind of?
She's super approachable. That being said, I was still very scared to approach. It was at a fashion show, and those are really weird things to go to. Hunter can attest. It's like really strange. And I kind of just said, I just feel weird if I didn't say hi. And she was really, really nice about it. And then we took photos. And what you don't see in that video of us taking pictures together, you can't hear her say it, but she's like, let's take another one where I'm strangling you and saying, you'll never take my part. So she's great.
Sounds about right. Let's talk about the casting of this. So Francis, first, from your perspective, what was the approach? I mean, what did you, let's pretend Tom's not here. What do we need for
Cover your ears.
Tom Blyth? Yeah, earmuffs for Coriolanus.
Honestly, we needed the best actor possible. I mean, I think one of the things that Nina did the first time around with the first movie is bring, really young, great, fresh faces, great actors to be the sort of front and, center of the movie and the heart of the movie. We wanted to do the same thing, so we kind of knew that we were going to be finding somebody, fresh face, relatively unknown, and we saw a lot of people. And I will say that Tom's audition came in very late in the game. I remember I was in Germany on a train, and it came in, and we watched it, and I was with my assistant, and he just kind of blew everybody out of the water. I mean, some of it was physical, right? You sort of, he's got the blue eyes. I could see that he could possibly age up into sort of a Sutherland-esque like character. He's very intelligent, he's sophisticated, which are also sort of some important attributes to sort of transfer over to be believably turned into the Elder Snow. But he's an amazing actor, he's Juilliard trained, he's amazing at his craft. We knew that we were going to be able to get all the emotional values for this journey that he was going to go on. So he was just absolutely the best actor for the role.
I mean,
So true.
it's a hell of a journey for this character. We're in like Michael Corleone, Anakin Skywalker territory, like fall from grace.
I will take that.
Well, but truly, from where Corio starts and where we see Corio at the end of this, no spoilers, but you probably all have read it, let's be real. What was challenging, what was intimidating about the part? Like, did you have more of a read on kind of like where Corio was at the outset versus the end, or what was the degree of difficulty, would you say, for this?
Yeah, I mean, halfway through auditioning, I realized what the part was, what the film was, because at first it was kind of top secret. I got, a few scenes to read for the first few auditions, and I was like, this seems dystopian, this seems kind of like somewhat familiar, but I hadn't read the book, so I didn't recognize the character names and stuff. And then at a certain point, I was like, oh, this is a Hunger Games movie. And I realized, did my research and was like, there's another book that I need to read right now. And so I read it in like 4 days really quickly before my last few auditions. And I remember thinking, first of all, this book is really freaking good. And Suzanne Collins is a really great writer. And then also thinking, this part is really hard. Like, he is dense and conflicted, and he has all these kind of like multitudes within him. And everything that I thought I knew about the character from watching Donald Sutherland play him 64 years in the future is like a completely different character, essentially. And what I really knew was like, he's got to be so different by the end of the book/film compared to where he is at the beginning, and that you have to be able to track that throughout, but it has to be subtle, because it's like a psychological game that is being played out in real time. And the real tricky part that I think Francis and I both kind of acknowledged from the start was that the book is written from his perspective. It's in like first person, not first person, but it's written from his perspective. And then the film, like adapting that into film, can be tricky because we're not doing voiceover, we're not doing like a monologue overlaid over the whole thing. So we talked about like how do you bring that kind of perspective into it? And I was like, it's just like all in the eyes. I think it's got to be watching his thought processes happen in real time. So hopefully it works.
It works. Rachel, I know from our chats before, you had an interesting, history with this project, right? You'd been working a lot. Let's be real. Like, and you needed some time off when this kind of came around, and you almost didn't end up doing it.
Yeah, she broke my heart, and then she mended it, luckily. But she broke my heart.
I'm so sorry, Francis. I still apologize to Francis all the time. I apologized steadily throughout the filming process because of how much I regretted the initial no, because I was having such a good time filming the movie. Yeah, I mean, reality is you get burnout at some point, and I was trying to be as emotionally mature, but also just, self-preserving, and didn't feel like I had it in me to spend another half of the year out of the country away from my family. And so, I initially said no, and I didn't want to lead Frances on, so I kind of really said no from the word go. We had such a good chat.
Yeah, no, and I totally understood it, because we had a 4-hour meeting, and at the end of the meeting I said, is there anything else you'd like to know? And she goes, yeah, when's it happening and where's it happening? And I said, July 11th in Poland or something. And this was 2 days after she was going to wrap this movie. She hadn't even begun yet, further, into Europe. And I saw her go white as a ghost. And I was like, oh my God, she's never doing this movie. And she didn't.
But just imagine your perspective now. If you were watching all of us on stage with another talented actress, you would have, good
Well,
for them.
I would have
but it
been
would have
very
been
happy for her,
short.
and I'm sure she would have done an incredible job. But then I also would have been Jennifer Lawrence saying, "You'll never take my part."
Josh, Hunter, talk to me a little bit about your interest in Hunger Games prior to this, your level of fandom when this comes around. Is it, I'm seeing a lot of nodding from at least one person over there.
Yeah. Let's see. I got into it in middle school, and the obsession descended upon me really fast. And it was about the same time that I started reading the books that they were starting to film the first movie in Asheville, North Carolina, which was like 4 hours away from where I lived. And I remember like hearing about the casting call for extras, and we were losing our minds because that was so far, and we were like in middle school. You're not gonna like go do that, but that was my first impression. I was also a Capitol person for Halloween at that time too. Amazing. Just a general Capitol person because I loved the costume so much. I found the picture today. I'll show it tomorrow. So
stay tuned. Josh, what did you dress as for Halloween?
We were Fred and Daphne. I wasn't.
Oh, this year?
Catholic.
I think you meant as a kid.
Are you doing a Flintstones movie?
I was never a Halloween guy. I always had this. I had the Scream mask, and I would just wear that every year.
Wait,
and
you're
then
just
I
a
would
serial
get some
killer.
Candy.
Yeah.
What?
You're just a serial killer. That's not Halloween. That's just a scary dude.
Yeah, I was just scary guy for Halloween.
Just general scary
I was scary guy. TM. But sorry, as far as Hunger Games is concerned.
Sure.
Well, I did. I've told this story. I don't know if you've heard it yet, but it's when I was younger, I didn't have such great grades, so I had to give up a lunch period to do study hall. And we had this really good librarian who recommended the Hunger Games book to me, the first one, because everybody was reading it. He was like, "Reading's fun, I promise." And I'm like, "Boo, nerd." But then, I read it, and then I was the nerd. And it was great. I was really genuinely very into it. I couldn't put it down. I was very much a casual fan. I didn't dress up as a Capitol person or anything like that, but it was very much a relationship of I really liked the movies. There was the whole Team Gale, Team PETA thing, and I'm like, what a stupid thing. But then shortly thereafter, I'd be in my head like, well, obviously Team PETA.
Right. Just going the easy way to get the audience on your side. Shameless.
Cheap.
Yeah, truly. But I respect it at the same time. We have some exciting clips from this film. You guys want a sneak peek at this amazing film? This actually features, I believe, Choreo and Tigress. Let's take a little peek from the Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. I feel like Hunter is dying. Hunter did not want to watch that clip. I'm sorry. Let's talk about some relationships between some of your characters in the film. Lucy Gray and Choreo, it's complicated to say the least. What do they see in each other, you think? What do they do for each other in this story?
That's it, isn't it? It's what we can do for each other is really what the other is looking for.
Yeah.
Wow, we went to
I thought there was
diabolical.
more than that, but you're just using me, I see.
No.
Okay.
No. No, I mean, we've had this, I feel like you and I have had this conversation where we talk about whether or not they were actually in love or if they were just trying to preserve themselves and seeing how they could use the other to their advantage, and kind of came to the conclusion that it was a fun cocktail of both. Suzanne wrote a complex relationship that has pros and cons. And in the end, it kind of comes down to the individual perspective on whether or not the cons outweigh the pros or vice versa.
I agree. No, I also think from Corio's perspective, he's grown up being told what district people are or what someone from District 12 represents to him, and he's been told that they are chaotic and barbaric, and they took his father from him when he was very young, and so when he then meets Lucy Gray, and she's everything but that. She's like free and fun and full of life and light and love, and I sound like some sort of soap commercial. By Dove.
Smell a sponsorship.
yeah. Other soaps are available. No, but I think then she tests everything that he thinks he knows about the districts and about people who are from the districts, and it tests everything that he has been brought up to believe about the world, and he kind of goes along with it for a minute, because out of necessity, yes, but I think also because he's like completely fascinated by her. I think he's never seen anything like her, and feels like he never will again. And at a certain point, there's a point in the film, I think, where kind of necessity and like using Lucy Gray to get what he needs kind of is almost swapped out for actual, if not love, then some sort of infatuation or some sort of like fascination. But I do like what you said, which is like it's not kind of black or white, it's gray. And the relationship
Lucy
is
Gray.
it's the Lucy. It all lives in the Lucy Gray.
Suzanne's a genius.
She's a genius. But especially as an actor, that's so much more interesting than the black or white of it. Like it's so much more interesting to play the like not the primary colors, but like instead of playing blue or red, it's like play the purple. Yeah.
Let's imagine this is a repertory company of actors. We're rebooting the original Hunger Games films. Who's playing what role?
Francis,
You want to
go
cast your
ahead.
actors?
Make the decisions.
I'll play Haymitch.
We all want to be Haymitch.
What's in that mug over there? Yeah. Anyone else?
Oh,
Ooh.
what do you think?
I want to
yourself.
play one of those aggressive monkeys.
Right.
The baboons.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'd like to be Cinna. I think it would be fun. And also my dog's name is Lenny, and then Lenny Kravitz, so there's a connection,
I like it.
if that makes sense.
Hunter, you're up.
I'd like to play a loaf of pita's bread.
The
Wow.
one that gets tossed in the rain. You're like, that's me.
Like Andy Serkis mocap action going on, basically. Josh, what do you got?
I mean, I think realistically, I'd be like one of the guys behind the bad guy who's killing everybody, and I'm just like behind him, and I'm like, yeah, get him, and I'm kind of the henchman.
You're behind Kato.
Yes, like I'm the guy behind Kato with my arms folded.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why does that guy have a Scream mask on in the back there? What's going on?
I was gonna make the joke that he'd be Jack Quaid's
I
character.
would be
he'd be
scary
Marvel.
guy.
TM.
TM.
Yep. Some of the cast is not with us. We should pay some love because they are amazing. They're featured in this clip. Here's another clip from the Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. Some actors you might have heard of: Viola Davis, Peter Dinklage. Check them out. They're amazing in this clip from the Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. So, those are powerhouse actors that you're in a scene with. Is that intimidating? Is that
Hell yeah, bro.
Hell yeah. That's it. Hell yeah.
Are you over it yet? Or can you be chill around Viola Davis and Peter Dinklage at this
I
point?
basically just didn't talk to either of them. I was kind of scared. I was scared. I think the first time I talked to, well, no. I think the longest I ever was in a room with Peter and like socialized was when I told him my mom was a big fan and I asked him to sign my book. Yeah.
But yeah, it is. It's terrifying. When you know they're first coming on set, there was like a different energy each day. Like the first day Viola came on set, I will never forget. Everyone was nervous. I think even Francis, you were like a little bit like she's.
Yeah.
Francis is like, I'm never nervous.
No, I was nervous for sure.
Right?
Yeah, I mean, because we had she and I had conversations about the character. So we had the same vision for the character and worked on the hair, makeup, wardrobe, did the tests for all of that. But because of the way these movies work and how big the casts are, we never have that like sit down, table read, workshopping, rehearsing. So she walked in day one and she was going to be showing us all who her version of Gaul was. So, you're just like hoping, oh man, I hope I don't have to like get into it with Viola about something. But she came out and just killed it. And it was a scene in Heavensby Hall in the beginning of the movie where she gives a speech and introduces herself and introduces Peter as well. And I remember she just came out and the command she has was so incredible. And she was like on the mic and over the PA. And there was a room filled with like 300 students from the academy. And everybody erupted into applause. At her first take. Yeah. And it was amazing. And so it was great, and it's a relief, and you knew instantly she was going to be incredible. I mean, she is honestly one of the best actors of all time.
Yeah, we like, after that scene, like, yeah.
No, clap for her.
Like, after that scene, we all were kind of like suddenly like even more nervous, I think, to go speak to her. And we'd all just been introduced to her when she gives this monologue, and she's got this, this amazing prosthetic eye and this amazing costume. And then I walked backstage, and she sat there sipping a coffee, completely chill, cracking jokes. And I was like, oh, she's cool. She's like, she's an amazing actor, and she's just cool. Like, and then she sits and she like puts you at ease immediately. And I would say that goes for Peter and Jason as well. Just like great actors who each have their own like distinct skill, and then also are just really good people. And I think that's like, that kind of runs through this franchise, like through all the films, it seems, to me. And it's like what makes me so excited to be just a part of it is like you join these like hallowed halls of like great actors who are also really good people and like family, and all rally around Francis and Nina and Suzanne and like want to bring it to life.
I would imagine, I mean, look, by the nature of the work, these are intense movies to shoot. I mean, it's work at the end of the day. So I'm curious, like, is there a way to decompress during the shoot? Were you guys able to, it's also COVID times, I know, and were you able to, decompress at all on location?
A few of us like learned how to decompress together. Yes, for sure.
Which ones?
No, we had fun. Just a few of us would, we could have some fun.
Okay. How does that manifest?
We were in Europe, and we went dancing. We went dancing, and like when we got together. Techno, to be precise. Techno. Hunter's a techno head. Like, loves techno. I am too. Yeah, we go dancing sometimes.
But also, Francis has like,
and Francis.
Yeah,
and Francis.
Francis has like a real insistence on the this communal vibe on his set, a familial vibe. So there weren't really long nights on set because there was an insistence that we all get to sit down and have dinner, whether that be together or not. But really together a lot. And Francis knows all the best restaurants. He knows all the best wine. And that's exactly what you want from that kind of experience where you're so far from home. And don't make the wine joke you're about to make.
No, I was actually going to be sincere about it.
You weren't going to say it. I was going to drop you in it.
No, breaking news.
Josh is a fake wine connoisseur. And the reason why is because he wanted to impress Francis, because Francis is a real wine connoisseur. So Josh managed to like create this whole...
Now. Here's the thing. The story here, let me spin you a little yarn.
Please.
There's a little bit of lore here. The first time we got together, it was me, Francis, and Tom. We wanted to get like, a drink or two, have some dinner, talk about what was about to happen. And I ordered a glass of wine because I usually drink whiskey, but I knew that if I drank whiskey, I would have like 3 more whiskeys, and then I would get fired. And so I was like, I'm going to be good. I'm going to have a glass of wine. And Francis says, oh, you like wine? I say, yeah. And so began the 3 months of essentially living a lie. Because then you apparently were really passionate about wine, but I just didn't want to drink whiskey that day.
this all culminated in Francis buying Josh a really nice, expensive bottle of wine and gifting it to him, which Josh then left to bake and microwave in his rental car for like 3 months, and it fermented even more.
Tastes
turned
like
into
glove
vinegar.
box.
Yeah,
Ooh.
which then Francis found out and was like, "You don't
was
really
like-
like wine, do you?" And Josh was like, "Nah."
It was like 2 nights. It wasn't. I drank it. It was still pretty good.
I don't know how to get us back on track, but I'll try. I do want to, talk about like the music in this film is amazing. I mean, like Rachel, she's. I don't know if you're familiar, but Rachel Zegler sings and pretty damn well.
Too much.
There's actually a lot of singing in it. Too. I feel like you sing more in this than West Side Story.
Aha. Aha.
Twists. Talk to me, because like I feel like there's the singing, but also the physicality of this role is pretty intense. So was that aspect the challenging part for you?
The action was the challenge.
Yeah.
I feel like Francis tried to make a mission out of trying to find things that were going to scare me, and like failed every time because I was so game to do it all. I did a movie where I didn't get to do any stunts, even though like my character had a lot of stunts, and I was so bummed all the time because the stunt guys were like, "Oh no, little lady." On this one, I wish they had stopped me more. But they didn't, and I'm honestly so glad that they didn't. It was so much fun to learn how to do it. I was patted up by Scott and Steve every day, and Silky, my stunt double, would teach me how to do things. And I get to watch this movie and know that I'm doing 90% of what you see on the screen, which is so incredible and really not common for things like this. So then it made the singing days like, oh, this is just it's an easy day, and then people are looking at me like this seems like the most difficult part, and it's just not. The backwards tumble roll down the incline of the cornucopia, that's the toughest part.
And then I for Hunter, this is, correct me if I'm wrong, is this your first film?
This is my first film to come out.
So, I mean, talk to me a little bit about what do you take from this experience? Obviously, Euphoria has been and continues to be an extraordinary experience. What do you take away from this experience that you apply to the next job or Euphoria? What's the learning from this?
I mean, I'm so glad that this all happened in the order that it did, because like I wasn't an actor. Like acting is like not what I was gonna be doing, and I had never done it before, and then I just got like thrown into Euphoria, and so that was my acting school, and I feel like this role, because it really is a character piece, and there's also like responsibility with taking on a character from a book that's also beloved by oodles of people. I'm so glad that I had 2 seasons of Euphoria to like help me understand like the emotional and like brain part of acting before I started taking on something like this, which was a character and involved like character work that has to be accurate to like a book and not just like me being like a horny teenage girl, you know? Yeah.
When this saga of this shoot ends, again, just calling it back to my experience with the previous cast, Hutcherson told me that the person that cried the most at the end of that series was Francis Lawrence.
I did. I sobbed like a baby. 100%. It's why I didn't give a speech at the end of this one, because I realized when I give speeches at the end of movies, I cry. But the Hunger Games was really intense. I mean, it was about 3.5, 4 years of my life, and we did the last 2 movies back to back, which was really tough. It was across, Atlanta to France to Germany. We lost Phil Hoffman in the middle of it all, so it was a very, very trying time. So when it was complete and it felt final and it felt done, it was heartbreaking.
Any tears this time around? Or anybody?
Oh, I cry at everything.
Yeah.
It's
I
just
think
disgusting.
we did. I think
There was some tears, but not for me this time because I got out of giving a speech.
Right.
So I just I weaseled my way out of giving the speech.
There was a moment, I mean, because the last thing we really did, and correct me if I'm wrong, I think I sang in the middle of a field in Berlin, and just to get like wild track with the wind and everything in the background, and I think it was The Hanging Tree. And then I saw Tom, who had dyed his hair purple, and Joshi was there, and the three of us like had this really beautiful group hug moment, and it was just such a sense of accomplishment, a sense of relief, but then also just I'm gonna miss getting to come to work every day and seeing these people, and I feel the same like ending this tour out right now. It's an amazing thing to come to work and see people that you genuinely enjoy seeing. The opposite sucks. So when you get to do like a global press tour too with people that you really, really love and people who are passionate about the thing that you're promoting, it's one of the most beautiful experiences. And so I have the same feeling right now that I had on the last day of working, which is just, this was really fun.
I have to say, too, it was really, I'm just going to paint a little bit of a picture of the final moment because it was really beautiful. We were shooting, there's a scene that takes place in these catacombs under the arena. So it was dark in this kind of basement water thing, and we all came up because we were done. And so we went up to this field, and the whole crew was there. And they went dead silent, and she sang The Hanging Tree.
I love you too.
We got him! We got him!
Stop it. I'm stopping.
Oh, man.
Just let it sit. We got to get through this together, guys. Hold hands. We're good. The unusual part about this, too, is this is one story. This is only because Suzanne had another idea for a story. And that's beautiful, but it's also like, wait, there's so much more we could do with some of these characters. But it really does, I guess, rely on Suzanne coming up with an idea, correct? To do more of these?
Yeah, 100%. And I think, Nina and I have always said this, because she writes from a thematic place. She comes up with something that she wants to talk about and write a story about, starts there and builds the story out and the characters out from those ideas. And I think that's what gives these stories the relevance, the reason for being, that kind of heft that you feel, especially when you sort of compare it to other, YA material. And so it just always feels a little shallow to start thinking of, characters that you might want to see spin off without those thematic ideas first.
So if you find yourself stuck in an elevator with Suzanne for an hour, what are you pitching her? Any of you? What's the spin-off?
Where did my footprints go in the woods? What happened? I just want to know. She doesn't even have to write the book, and she just needs to tell me.
Okay, so spoiler alert, they've all read it. But spoiler alert, what do we think happened among this group? What are your...
I'm not saying anything.
Yeah.
Do you know from Suzanne?
Yeah, I know.
Wait a minute!
Wait!
You know?
Breaking news.
Definitively, you know what happens to her.
No, I'm just kidding.
Oh my God.
He is backtracking. He so knows.
Yeah, he definitely knows.
Backed
We
into a
just
corner.
traded tears, Francis.
Exactly. No, I had to come back from the tears. That's
Okay.
my way of coming back.
Wow. Okay, so Francis can't answer, but you must have theories about what happened to Lucy Gray.
She's your character.
Oh, she is mine. And I love her. I want her to be free so badly. The entire story is her fight for survival, at least on her side. Of course, it's a story for Coriolanus and about Coriolanus, but Lucy Gray's motivation is to stay alive for myriad reasons, for herself, for her family, and for the hope of a better future for everyone, for the entirety of Panem. And so my hope is that he's having actual delusions at the end from the snake bite, and that my footsteps do continue, or I scaled a tree and choose. Juicy. I believe in her survival. I believe in her ability to survive because off camera, Casca Highbottom says that he's thankful that she survives Coriolanus, and I think it would be a disservice to her if she didn't actually follow through on that.
Yeah.
Love it. Yeah.
I think she survives too. I think she survives because I think Coriolanus lives in fear for the rest of his life. I really do. I think, hopefully some of you will see the film, and at the end you'll see that he is like way closer to becoming like the future tyrant, President Snow, and it's all because I think he's like totally fearful of like the freedom she represents, and I do think she has to live on for that freedom to live in him as an innate fear. that he tries to control for the rest of his life.
Well, because that was her character. Well, my approach to her was, how do I make this person so enigmatic and powerful, yet still have a softness about her that he's able to fall in love with, that haunts him for the rest of his life. I mean, he looks at Katniss and he is scared out of his mind because of how much what she represents reminds him of Lucy Gray. And so that's like a really delicious challenge as an actor, but a really amazing thing as a fan of these books to read and see how Suzanne kind of flipped the script on her female character.
As you might imagine, yeah.
Thanks.
I'm going
Can
to
I just add, I also want to see more from Tigress.
Yes.
Like, I really want to see more. I want to see what happens to Tigress. Yeah. Like, what happens? Where does that face paint, tattoo stuff come from? You know?
Me too.
Your game? You're in?
What?
You're in? You're ready?
Oh, I'm ready. That absolutely. She is so fabulous in Mockingjay Part 2. with the fur. Oh, gorgeous.
As you might imagine, when we put out the call for questions, we got literally hundreds and hundreds and hundreds. So I want to get to some of them, and we're going to get to some of your questions as well. Call Me Kitty wants to know, who's the funniest on set? Who's
Josh.
Josh. Yeah.
I don't know. I really couldn't say.
Thank you.
And Jason Schwartzman.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah,
I mean,
man, he's a
he's-
riot.
Wait.
Yeah, maybe Jason.
He
Sorry,
might-
Josh.
You made me laugh, honey.
I don't know. I really couldn't say.
Michael Kraubeck wants to know, favorite musical moment in the film?
There's a song called "Pure as the Driven Snow," which is my favorite. I
That's
think
my
it's a
favorite.
beautiful song that Suzanne wrote the lyrics for. Dave Cobb wrote the music. She sings the hell out of it, but I just love it in where it is in the movie and just as a song. I think it's incredible.
Evening Everlark wants to know from you, Josh, how many times did you have to throw that chair, and are your vocal cords all right?
Do you have a ballpark? It felt like 26 times. It felt like so many.
I don't think we had that many tables.
We didn't, but that's why it took so long, because then they had to fix the table, because it wasn't like a durable table. It exploded. It was like we had to put it back together in between each take. Oh, it took forever. I had such a headache too.
Let's see. Uptown Livy wants to know your thoughts on Olivia Rodrigo's "Catch Me Now." That's
Angel.
Yeah,
Quite the
I'll
coup.
just jump in for a second, then they can speak on how they feel. But I mean, she just killed this song. I have to say, she came in, she saw the movie, she really, really loved it. She and I and some of her team sat down in a conference room, and I just spoke at her for like 45 minutes about the movie, the themes, the feeling I wanted at the end, narratively, what I thought she could do with some of the lyrics, how it could tie in to Snow, to Lucy Gray, all these things. And she was taking notes and taking notes. And she's so young, but she is so smart. And 3 weeks later, I think, this song came in, and I was just knocked out. I thought she just killed it.
I know there's a lot of musical talent on this stage. Does everybody here have musical? Oh, Tom, not so much.
Tom can sing and play guitar. He needs to stop being humble.
Yeah, but when you can do something okay, and then you're sat next to Josh and Rachel, you can't do it.
No, it's not just okay. You're fully talented at singing.
it's annoying.
He did it in his trailer. You could hear it when.
Oh yeah, Hunter thinks I sing opera for some
It's
reason.
not opera. I took it back. It's not opera.
You have
I don't
been
know what
saying
it
this,
is, but
though.
it's not opera.
Was there ever a karaoke night? I would think that's the worst idea ever with Rachel and Josh.
And I was not present, so that's why it worked out.
Oh wow.
We did one karaoke night before Rachel came, and then we were like, we're not doing it with Rachel. We'll all be so embarrassed.
I love doing karaoke too, and that's why I'm like, meh.
We can go tonight after this. Wanna go do karaoke?
I really couldn't say.
I'm game.
Let's see.
Oh wait, Francis can play guitar too. Francis is good. Sorry, I have a really great picture of you showing. Well, Josh asked all the people on stage. You're on stage, Francis, and I have really cute pictures of Francis showing Tom easier ways to play certain chord progressions in the field in Poland. The one that looks like the Everlark scene with the babies. And it's a really sweet photo.
Love it. Amy wants to know your favorite line from any of the films.
You made me spill my drink on some brand new pants.
I love it in this one when Viola Davis says, down, down, down.
Down in the cage.
Down in the cage. She does some amazing vocal stuff in this.
Definitely. Any others resonate?
I'm not made of sugar.
That's a good one.
Elva's Vault wants to know, how does it feel to be in the presence of the capital's #1 fashion icon? That's you, Hunter.
The capital?
I guess just let's all take a moment to revel
Yeah,
in being in the
feel
presence.
really good.
From our audience here, Alicia and Cam want to know, what advice do you have as an actor in the beginning stages of their career? If you had to start again, what would you do? What's your go-to advice for young actors out there, guys? Rachel's like, I don't know.
I don't have good advice. I don't. Just try.
I always say the faster you can figure out who you are, the better. Because that's ultimately going to be the fuel that you use for the rest of your life is that special thing that everybody has as individuals. We all have something. It's unique. It's different. It's what makes us us. The faster you can identify that, the faster you can utilize it to, create a dialogue, to understand circumstance, to have empathy for how you would fare in a situation. That's my go-to.
Good advice.
That's good advice, Josh.
Yeah?
Yeah. I had a teacher once that said, compare and despair. And I feel like as a young actor, you spend so much time, so much wasted time and energy, like looking left and right at other people and what they're doing compared to what you're doing, and whether you should be doing what they're doing more or whether they're further ahead in their career. And it's just like, you're in your own lane. You're not in competition with anyone else. You're really not. Like, yes, you are for the roles, obviously, but like, really the competition.
Honestly, from a director's side, you're really not.
You're not.
Yeah.
Because the truth is, most people that come in and like that I see are not bad. It's just they're suddenly the person that's right, and so it's actually not a competition. It's not about being better than somebody else. And it's just suddenly that person, like when your audition showed up, it was like, that's Snow.
Which I feel speaks to like Josh's point, which is like you're only really in competition with yourself, and if you can like work out who you are, then you've kind of got it down, and like you can express yourself freely, and you're not like challenging. I don't know. You're
This
not
is
like
way funner that way, too.
And
Yeah, way more
I
fun.
feel like in line with what Josh said, you don't let other people tell you who you are. Only you can determine that, and also only you can show that to other people. Constantly people try to put you in boxes. I say this as a member of a marginalized community in Hollywood. You don't get to tell them what script you fit. You get to write the script. And that's really the most important part.
What's an unscripted choice you made that you're proud of?
Don't look at me, Tom.
it's the obvious one.
The curtsy, the bow, is a very nice one. That was
unscripted?
That was unscripted, and I did it one take. And God bless Dave Thompson, our 8-camera operator. He caught that shit. And then Francis was like, "You can keep doing it." And he came up to me and he came to me with, "Are you doing it because Katniss was like, mm-hmm." And we kept it in, and I thought that was really, really nice. There's also like when we were doing reshoots and we were doing a scene that we belovedly called Love Alley, Love Alley, and Tom grabbed my chin, and I just was like, ew, and. And it's after Lucy Gray has kind of started to clock the CJness of it all, and a lot of things that are kind of changing in between the percentage of trust on either side of the relationship. And I had an involuntary flinch to Tom grabbing my chin, and it made it in there, and it's so sick.
What would your first meal be after winning the Hunger Games? Emily would like to know. How do you celebrate this horrific thing you've just been through?
Burrata. I'd have burrata. I love burrata. And cherry tomatoes. And gnocchi bolognese.
Yeah, I was gonna say gnocchi bolognese
You're like-
is his favorite.
I feel like Josh has thought about this. I feel like he had a prepared answer.
Oh, I know how to relax.
No wine, warm wine, and burrata. Yeah. Anyone else?
Bangers and mash. Do you know what that is?
Wow, he's so British.
Do you know what bangers
We
and
get
mash
it,
are?
you're British. Yeah, that's
I know.
sausage.
I know that is such a cliche British answer, but like growing up, bangers and mash was like my comfort food. I don't even like pork, but if I had to, I'd pick bangers and mash. Toad in the hole.
Yeah, toad in the hole is
I love
good.
that from a British person in the audience. Toad in the hole.
Name your favorite British dish, everybody. No, don't do that, please.
Crumpets.
How about one more clip before we go, just to give the audience one more tease. I believe this one features a bunch of folks here, but also we mentioned another cast member, Jason Schwartzman, who is so funny in this, so amazing in this. Let's take another look at the Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes before we go. Here we go. Nothing much happens after that. It's just chill. Everybody calms down.
Everybody lives.
Everybody lives. Nothing.
What happens after that was actually Rachel's first day at work. It's literally straight from one set to us and right into that
And
sequence.
it was called the bloodbath, and that didn't help the nerves. Like you see the clapper, and it says "Take one, the bloodbath," and you're like, shit.
And when you guys see the film, it is so intense, and the camera is like right in your face. You are there with Lucy Gray. It must have been just like, you must have had an intimate connection with your camera operator.
Dave Thompson, he's
Right?
my best friend now. Yeah, and truly, because I came right from another film, so I didn't really get the choreography briefing. So Dave was physically pushing me out of the way to make sure I didn't actually get hit by the machete that Reaper's holding, Coral's trident. Like, I was truly in the Hunger Games trying to survive, and yeah,
Worst
it's
kind of
all
method acting.
a
You don't
little
wanna
bit
do it
method,
for-
yeah. And you're all up in my Vaseline sweat and fake dirt.
Get your tickets now, guys.
Get your tickets now. If that doesn't get tickets sold,
There you go. All right, our last couple minutes, rapid fire, the Happy, Sad, Confused, Profoundly Random Questionnaire. Anybody that wants to take these, feel free. What do you collect? What's the weirdest thing anybody here collects?
Guitars.
records.
Stones.
Do you collect stones?
When I was a kid, I used to collect stones, and I still have a lot of them, and I really love them.
Mom.
It's so weird.
Wallpaper on your phone, anybody?
What?
You want to cop to what's the wallpaper on your phone?
It's my mom. She's holding a chicken.
Oh, yeah,
She's
it's
got
so
a bunch
cute.
of chickens.
Mine right now is me holding
Adorable.
my dog as a baby getting out of the bathtub. But I have it alternating, so.
Yeah, here's my mama.
Oh,
And yeah, I don't know if you can see. The chicken's name is Princess. She was really mean.
Yeah, you hated Princess.
Really
You
mean.
hated
I
Princess.
didn't like her at all. But it's a good picture.
Last actor any of you were mistaken for?
Oh, I get Camila Mendez all the time.
I get Richard E. Grant, which is
Oh my
like,
God.
Wait,
which-
great, but he's 40 years
he's
old.
amazing. I know. I'm like, I am aging quickly. Apparently, he's amazing. I love him, but yeah, we are not the same age.
No. Anybody?
I get like Chris Hemsworth like, all the time. It's like, yeah.
Huh. I mean,
Francis, does anyone ever tell you you look like an actor? Like, does that happen a lot?
It's happened before, yeah. I don't want to say.
Wait.
Because I'm not.
Ooh.
I got Daniel Stern. The guy, he was one of the criminals in the original Home Alone.
Right.
With Joe Pesci. So,
wow.
lovely actor. Never worked with them, but, you know.
turning into a therapy session for everybody up here. What's the worst note a director, besides Francis? Francis doesn't give bad notes. What's the worst note a director has ever given you guys?
It was just constantly just urgency, because it was like a disaster. It's just like urgency. You have to be more urgent. But
in
that
this
was
one. No, but I'm saying like.
No. Like
Oh, in
ever.
another
When
film.
like
Oh, I
you
see.
just kind of the whole movie was just like, can you be more urgent? And in reality, like on film sets, things are not actually loud. Things are not actually being thrown at you. Like it's really a lot of acting in front of the camera with things that are not actually happening around you. So the sense of urgency has to come from you. And so it got to a point where I was like, why don't you just tell me what's happening around me, and then I will act.
Then I'll do the acting thing.
Yeah.
In the tradition of Happy, Sad, Confused, an actor that makes any of you happy. You see the actor on screen, you are instantly happy. Hunter, you got one? No. Okay. There was a big reaction, and then no.
Josh Rivera.
The cast of When Harry Met Sally. This time of year, it is, it's like November. Wow.
Yeah. It's a New York movie. It's a big
Yeah, we
film.
got some real New Yorkers in here.
Yeah.
No, but no, that's like, it's festive, you know, and I feel warm and fuzzy when I see that movie.
Oh.
Movie that makes anybody sad here. What gets you?
Pan's Labyrinth.
Blue Valentine. Yeah.
Rough.
Paris is Burning.
Nice. And finally, yeah, Tom, you had something?
No, I can't. I don't want to think about sad things
Okay,
right
we're not
now.
gonna think. We're gonna think positive. Food that makes you confused. What food makes you?
Currywurst. We worked in Germany. I did not understand the fascination with curries. I know you love it. I know you do, Hunter.
Yeah,
I'm
we had-
sorry.
No.
I
No,
think we
had a
had-
bad experience.
I think we
had a
had
bad
No
bad-
currywurst slander. I'm sorry. No, that's insane. That's insane.
We had
I
a
started
bad
eating meat
experience.
again because of currywurst.
You're
it's not
lost. I
good.
don't know.
Yeah.
Kebab meat, like doner kebab. Like, we were in Berlin, and it's everywhere, and they have a really good
Pardon?
kebab. But like, what?
You didn't go to kebab with attitude?
I went to all of them, but doesn't mean I understand it. Like, when you see it on that thing, I'm like, what is it?
Right.
That's not me.
I'll show you a video. I was confused too until I saw a video of how they make it, and now I know how they make it. I'm going
Kebab?
to send you a video.
Does it make you never want to eat it again?
No, it makes me want to eat it more.
Oh, that's great. Can you send it to me
Send
tonight?
it to the group chat.
Wait, I'm sorry. You're talking about like a kebab, like meat on a
Like
stick
when you,
with onions.
when you go to
when
like
they,
a
like, slice
place and
it
they're
up.
like
Go in.
shredding it
yeah,
off.
that thing.
Pickled.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
We're gonna talk street food for another hour if anybody wants to stick around. But you guys probably have tickets to the Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. I'm guessing. If you don't already, get your tickets now. The movie's out in theaters, guys. This is a long time coming. It's an amazing piece of work. You all should feel very, very proud. It is a privilege always to see you, Francis, to see this new cast that is giving new life to this amazing franchise. Thank you all for your time. They're almost done now. They can rest in a minute because the press tour is basically done now. So enjoy the moment, take a breath, and maybe Suzanne will have another idea one of these days, right?
Thanks,
Thank you.
Josh. Thank you.
Everybody, give it up for the cast and director of The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes.
Thanks, Josh.